Today on Rappler, the Supreme Court kicks out a member of Congress from the Judicial and Bar Council. The palace appoints a new representative to the JBC who was linked to the Lenny Villa killing. And a gunman opens fire in U.S. cinema showing the new Batman movie. At least 12 are dead. Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. The Philippine Supreme Court kicks out a member of Congress from the Judicial and Bar Council. Voting 7-2, the High Court decides in favor of former Solicitor General Francisco Frank Chavez, who questions the composition of the JBC, the body that screens and vets candidates for the judiciary. Chavez argues the 1987 Constitution states there should only be one representative from Congress in the JBC and that the Council should only have 7 members. In a decision penned by Justice Jose Mendoza, the court says the language of the Constitution is clear and unambiguous. 6 other justices agree with Mendoza. 2 justices disagree, Mariano del Castillo and Roberto Abad. Abad is one of those vying for the post of Chief Justice. He says he saw no compelling reason to inhibit. Other contenders for Chief Justice, Acting Chief Justice Antonio Carpio, Justices Presbitero Velasco, Teresita Leonardo de Castro, inhibited from the case. Another candidate, Justice Arturo Brion, is on leave. The Supreme Court says it's up to Congress to decide whether Representative Niel Tupas or Senator Francis Escudero leaves the JBC. Analysts tell Rappler the Supreme Court ruling removing one of the 2 representatives from Congress in the JBC does not correct the flaw in the Council's composition. The analysts say the decision cuts the influence of the legislative on the selection of members of the judiciary, but it doesn't make the JBC any less politicized than it already is. Vince Lasatin of the Supreme Court Appointments Watch says, while the decision balances the influence of the legislative branch in the Council, 4 of its regular members are still appointed by the President. They're from the academe, the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, the private sector, and a retired Supreme Court Justice. The Council screens applicants to the judiciary and the Ombudsman and submits a short list to the President, who makes the final choice. A creation of the 1987 Constitution, the JBC was meant to depoliticize the process of appointing judges and justices. Political analyst Professor Prospero de Vera says the JBC is politicized because its members carry many vested interests, not just those coming from Congress. But pamantasan ng lungsod ng Maynila, Dean Ernest Maceda says congressional representatives were included in the JBC precisely to check the President's influence over the process. But that is far from reality. JBC member from the House Niel Tupas is a party mate of President Benigno Aquino III and chief prosecutor in the Corona trial. Senator Chis Escudero is a close friend of the President. An undersecretary in the Office of the President is the newest member of the Judicial and Bar Council. Michael Frederick Musni replaces Justice Secretary Laila de Lima in the JBC. Musni is a member of the Aquila Legis fraternity, which was involved in the killing of Ateneo law student Jose Leonardo Lenny Villa. Musni was charged in court for the hazing of Villa. He was among the 19 cleared in a February 2012 Supreme Court ruling on the homicide case. 5 other fraternity members were found guilty of reckless imprudence, setting aside the original conviction of homicide. The court's records say fraternity neophytes were brought to Musni's house on February 8, 1991. Musni briefed the neophytes on what to expect during the initiation rites. Presidential spokesperson Edwin Lacerda says Musni's appointment is temporary and for a limited role only for selecting the Chief Justice. Singapore-based public policy expert Wang Jing says the Philippines' first mistake in the Scarborough Shoal dispute is sending its largest warship against 8 Chinese fishing boats. He says the move sends 2 messages. First, it says the Philippines is ready to fight. Second, it says the government is handling it as an international dispute. In response, China sends 2 maritime patrol ships, which are civilian vessels. Wang says that also sends 2 messages. First, the Chinese are trying to do it peacefully. Second, this is an internal affairs matter, so China sends its civilian police force. The Philippines eventually pulled out the warship in favor of civilian Coast Guard vessels. This was followed by a series of commitments between the Philippines and China to stop escalating the tension in Scarborough Shoal. A boy from Davao City tested positive for enterovirus 71, but the Department of Health says there's no need to worry. Health Secretary Enrique Ona says enterovirus is common in the Philippines. A similar case was recorded in the country 10 years ago. He says the boy's case is not fatal and the EV71 is mild. Ona clarifies this is not the same virus that caused the death of at least 52 children in Cambodia. The boy has no history of travel to another country. Well, let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 1, the United Nations Security Council is deadlocked on how to proceed in Syria, with China and Russia vetoing new sanctions against the al-Assad regime. The UN sends its military advisor to Damascus to get more real-time reports. Observers express fear President Bashar al-Assad might be ready to use serious chemical weapons to save his embattled regime. Experts, however, caution against speculation. At number 2, Australia's top spy warns of the, quote, very real threat from extremists in the first public address by the head of the 60-year-old Secret Intelligence Service. Nick Warner says the security challenges for agents have dramatically changed over the past decade. There is now, quote, a web of links between extremists from Australia to Indonesia, to the southern Philippines, to the Fatah region in Pakistan, and to Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula in Yemen, and on to Somalia. At number 8, the BBC reports thousands of Home Office staff will go on strike on the eve of the July 27th opening of the London Olympics. The Home Office is the UK's lead department in charge of immigration, passport, and border issues. Protesting job cuts, the union says it will strike for 24 hours, but admits the strike vote turnout was just 20% of its membership. While upset over the union's unpatriotic move, UK authorities say the strike won't disrupt the games. And at number 10, Mad Men dominates the Emmy Awards with nominations for all 9 drama-related categories. The show is up against Boardwalk Empire, Breaking Bad, Downton Abbey, Game of Thrones, and Homeland for Best Drama Series. Mad Men is the only series ever to win Best Drama for every season it has aired. Awards night is on September 23. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. Morgan Freeman is the latest Hollywood celebrity to donate to Barack Obama's re-election fund. The Oscar-winning actor gives $1 million to Priorities USA Action, a campaign group independent of the official campaign. Freeman praises Obama for his achievements in office. Yahoo chief Marissa Mayer gets $1 million a year and more in bonuses if she hangs on to the post. The company says Mayer will receive $2 million yearly in bonus cash if Yahoo hits financial performance marks. The 37-year-old CEO also gets $14 million worth of stocks to make up for compensation she forfeits by leaving Google this week to take charge of Yahoo. U.S. lawmakers say high-profile leaks of classified information caused damage to national security operations. The Justice Department launched 2 criminal investigations after congressional outcry over unauthorized disclosures. The military says it's taking steps to limit the leaks. The series of leaks led to explosive stories in U.S. media, such as President Barack Obama's alleged push for cyber attacks on Iranian computers, a secret drone campaign against terrorists in Yemen, and the kill list of counterterrorism targets. At least 12 people die and around 50 are wounded when a gunman opens fire at a U.S. cinema showing the new Batman movie, The Dark Knight Rises. Police and media reports say the gunman, identified as James Holmes, set off tear gas bombs before shooting people in a packed theater in Aurora, a suburb of Denver, Colorado. Police say the suspect is in his 20s, wearing body armor and armed with a rifle and 2 handguns. Reports say a 6-year-old child is among those injured. The active low-pressure area east of the Philippines is now Tropical Depression Ferdy. In its 5 p.m. bulletin Friday, State Weather Bureau Pagasa says the tropical depression enhances the southwest monsoon and brings light to moderate rains. It's now moving towards extreme northern Luzon. Signal number 1 is up over Isabela, Cagayan, Batanes Group, Kalinga Apayao, Abra, Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, and Mountain Province. The holy month of Ramadan in the Philippines officially begins Saturday, July 21. It would have started Friday if the new moon, which marks the beginning of fasting among Muslims, was seen Thursday night. But clouds blocked the view of moon sighting committees as they attempted to synchronize the start of Ramadan throughout the Philippines for the first time. The ASCAL Support Balls for Peace, a youth program led by the Philippine Marine Corps to promote football among kids in Sulu. Natasha Gutierrez reports.
When Major Stephen Cabanlet first started teaching football to kids in Sulu with his fellow Marines, he did not have enough resources. Rappler learns about the football program in the war-torn island and starts a partnership with the Philippine Marine Corps. The goal? Collect 2,000 balls for the young athletes of Football for Peace. Philippine ASCAL's team manager Dan Palami first heard of Balls for Peace through Rappler. Now the Philippine Football Federation wants to help.
Anything about football always perks up my interest, and then I look at it and I looked at the link, and I was quite surprised that in fact our Philippine Marines had this initiative to use football for the peace process in Mindanao. If we could help some more, then let's just do it. And that's how the ASCAL started.
The PFF pledges 200 balls and donated 50 so far. It also plans to help in bigger ways. In the future, they want to sponsor scholarships to deserving kids, build a field in Abu Sayyaf territory, and send some ASCALs to train the Sulu youth. ASCAL's co-captain Chiefy Caligdong supports the cause.
Yung isip ng mga bata, hindi lang puro ganito, ay solo-solo away. So maganda pala solo-solo yung may football, maganon, 'di ba? So masaya ako para doon, and I'm willing to pupunta ako doon to experience yung ganong klase kasi hindi ko pa napuntahan yung lugar na yun.
So far, the Marines received 950 footballs. They are nearing their goal of 2,000 balls as well as bigger dreams, promoting peace through football among the youth in Mindanao. And who knows, the first ASCAL from Sulu. Natasha Gutierrez, Rappler, Manila.
Every piece on Rappler has its own mood meter, which shows you 8 emotions. Click how you feel on the mood meter, and all of those votes are aggregated on the back end and pulled together on Rappler's unique mood navigator. The top 10 stories are shown on the mood navigator, and the emotion that gets the most votes become the mood of the day. If you take a look, this time last week, most of the stories were sad because it was Dolphy's, the death of Dolphy. By Sunday, it began to turn green after his burial. Today, you have 8 stories that are green, 2 red. The top story with the most vote, state colleges to get huge 2013 budget, pegged to the budget for 2013, 83% happy. The votes for happy that have been clicked on the most, making the mood for today happy. Well, that's Rappler's newscast for today, Friday, July 20th, 2012. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.